Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of SuperFantaFi. This being a show where we talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the beginning after the end, Season 1, Episode 8. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So we're immediately picking up where the last episode left off with Arthur being, reunited with his family, getting a proper introduction to his sister who was still inside of his mom's belly at the time. Like, she wasn't even showing signs of being pregnant at the time. So it's kind of crazy to see how much obviously has changed for him in that time frame. But yeah, he regales his family with the story, obviously admitting certain things, just like, oh, Sylvia found them in Mana Beast Cave, because kind of keeping up with the like story that Virion was like, don't let people know that Sylvie's a dragon. There's also probably don't want to tell them either, like, I had an encounter with a dragon, she instilled part of her beast will upon me. So he's kind of, because they end up having this interesting conversation later on too, because we found out about some of the power scaling when it comes to like the mana of it all, where it's just like it's on a color scale. It's like a video game. Oh, like certain colors, or it's a color scale of like common to red. Common to rare, and obviously that varies from game to game. But in this particular case, it's like going from black to white, and even amongst those colors, like there are different shades. Like the lighter the shade of your mana core, the more like that's the you're. So for example, Arthur says his is light red, which is like on the higher end of red, probably pushing into like the orangish territory. I think his dad's kind of, because I think his dad's dark orange, right? I believe. I don't remember. So that's interesting. I mean, based on the graph they showed, there's only like 3 scales, so it's like dark, medium, and then light, which makes sense, I guess. But yeah, there's like at least like 6 like various colors of just where your mana core, and kind of shows your power level. So it's just interesting that this is our first introduction to like what the actual power scaling is. I mean, the highest point seems to be white, but we don't know if there's anything beyond that. How many people actually get up to white? How many people currently exist that have white? Just interesting stuff like that. We learned a little bit about Reynolds' current situation. He's working security. Like, could we find out the person whose house they're living in is his name's Vincent, I believe, is Ray's boss. He's like, was it like a museum or something? I actually forgot. He's a security at something, and I just can't remember what it was now. But obviously, he's gotten stronger, and ends up having a sparring match with Arthur, where Arthur showcases some of what he's learned. Obviously, can't go fully all out, but it's a toe for blow, and his father like summons up the fire around him, which we get a little more explanation on that. Obviously, it's like the word I always forget is conjuring. I always remember augmenters, but I can never remember conjurers. Conjurers, it's a little easier for them to find out what what elemental affinity matches them. It's not as easy with augmenters because it's kind of vague, and it's not till like effort and training that it really like rears its head. Arthur's in that very lucky and complicated spot of like, I actually can access all of the elements, because if we learned from Virion, like, was that last episode, I believe, that humans have the ability to like have an affinity with all 4 elements, whereas elves and dwarves only have like 1 or 2 that they're more connected with affinity wise. So but Arthur, partway through the fight, gets a little more serious, and like he has this yellow glow to him initially, and at first I was like, I just thought that was like light, but I was like, there is no light. It's fire, water, wind, and earth, or the affinities. But then I guess like as we see later on, he ends up causing fire, and even his dad's like, oh my god, that's higher fire magic, mana. And I was like, oh, interesting, okay, which makes sense, because I guess it kind of goes into like, because it makes me think of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where like firebenders like learned how to like bend lightning, so, or being able to do lightning skills. So I guess like the same principle, applied here. But Arthur also showcased that he's able to manipulate water, because Virion is like, okay, trained him up to being able to master fire, but then he's like, we need to go beyond that. So I guess it's like, I don't know if those are going to be the only elements he's able to control, or will he eventually get to a point he can do wind and earth as well, and they just didn't get to that in Arthur's training. Because even Arthur's like, yeah, it's something he learned, but he doesn't have full control over it yet. But I thought it was such a sweet, endearing thing when he came over and his dad is hugging him, like, oh my God, look at my boy, that was so amazing. He's so proud of his son. I thought that was so beautiful. I even love that moment where he found out that Arthur's light red, and he's like, oh, my son's gonna overtake me, damn. And then his daughter repeats after him, and Alice is like, what are you doing? I told you to stop swearing in front of her. He's like, oh, and he's like, yeah, honey, you need to stop saying words after daddy said them. And she's like, damn, bad. I was like, it's super adorable. So I just thought that was kind of interesting all around. Once again, just Alice kind of, kind of, I was about to say something, but I'm like, I don't want anyone to kind of misinterpret. I was about to say stomping on him, like, she's the one wearing the pants in a relationship type of situation. And I love that dynamic is still the same. And for Arthur, it's kind of nice being like, obviously his family's expanded, but it's still kind of nice to, we're here again. They talked about like, oh, are you good? Like we heard about you talked to us about your condition. So I guess he did only talk to them the one time, and I guess talking to them maybe it's not the easiest thing to always communicate with them, but I guess also the situation was like, no, I want to surprise them, and also like constant updates are just going to worry them, so let them know that I'm okay, but I'm going to keep training, I'm going to get back to them as fast as I can. So, but anyway, the Helstas, I'm sure the family's name, Vincent and his family, and we got introduced to their daughter Lilia, which she seems to have like she comes from a very well-off family, and there's this whole conversation about this special academy for like very gifted kids to go to and train, their magic and stuff. And the father was suggesting like, oh, we could send Arthur there because he seems to showcase such control and be such a genius. They're even willing to pay his tuition. And even her mom's kind of like, Arthur's mom's like, I mean, you've offered us a place to stay, like you're employing my husband, now you're offering to like pay the tuition for my son. But Arthur's kind of like, I mean, it should be my decision, right? And he's kind of hesitant because it's like, no, like I don't want to be away from my family more than I have to be. I mean, granted, sure, it can make me stronger, but that's probably also more like hiding. You'd have to do what you're capable of, so it'd probably stifle you to some extent. I'm sure it's more so like, no, my family, I want to be around them. I just got back with them. I don't want to be away from them any longer. I don't, even if I'm going to the academy, that still means time I'm going to be spending away from my family. So it's not a decision he's really wanting to make right now. But then he goes with Lilia, and they kind of meet with some of the staff. And it turns out anytime she gets stressed out, she kind of hangs out with the staff. And, it's like, oh, you're eating this food, you're going to gain weight. She's like, don't worry about me. Like, I'm a growing girl. But then it's like her mom kind of gets on her about her weight. Her family's got a lot of expectations for her because they want her to be a mage so badly. I don't know if it's just because maybe like there's lineage in their family of them having great mages or something, but why? I guess it's like you'll add more prestige to our family. I don't think they have like terrible intentions, but I think it's just a family wanting the best for their child and putting a lot of pressure on their child. And you see Arthur kind of looking at it and kind of feeling bad for Lilia. I mean, it's not the same, but I think there could be a parallel drawn between like Tessia and her destiny and, position as princess and the weight that kind of comes with that. Like you see Arthur kind of looking at Lilia, and it's just like that whole conversation about him getting sent to the academy. I'm sure like it's kind of a complicated thing for her because it's not just her family. She herself wants to be a mage too, but the question is like, does she really just want that for herself, or does she want it because her family wants it so badly? And now it's something that she wants, but only because they want it. So, I mean, the episode even ends off kind of sadly at her just kind of staring, because I think she's probably like, as amazing as Arthur is, it probably might sadly make her feel a little inadequate, because it's like, oh, I'm failing myself and everyone around me. And I think it's a lot where she's just, I need to get away for a bit. I hang with the maid staff and stuff just to kind of take a breather and just kind of forget about everything, even just for a little bit of time. So but then we also have Arthur reunited with his father's traveling companions, and they're all excited to see him back. Was it Adam pretending like he's not too choked up about it, and Jasmine patting him Arthur down and apologizing because she blames herself. It's like, it's because of me, but it's like, no, it's no one's fault. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm back, and sadly, we have me and my family be separated for a bit, but we're all back together again. So, and we hear a little bit about their exploits, about being adventurers, and some of that strikes a chord with Arthur because it's like, right, I realize like there's a lot to this kingdom I haven't really seen, and he's like, I'd have a lot more freeway, like leeway and opportunity to go travel around because even they've gone to places they've never gone before because of these job opportunities. But I'm wondering, but then he says, and then it cuts to Lilia. So I'm wondering, is he going to try and get into the academy? I'm wondering, is he going to try and train Lilia because he knows and sees how important that is to her? So he's going to help her out so she can get into the academy. But also going to the academy, he's probably thinking could make him stronger, and it makes it more likely I can protect my family so we're never separated again. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see which route Arthur decides to go. I mean, once again, his dad I think both his dad and his mom are a part of this party, but upon having a family, they settled down, and so because even his parents are like kind of not pushing, but they're kind of like, oh man, like you going to this academy would be great, but then they're trying to give him space to figure stuff out, because I think he's also kind of almost in an Lilia position, but not. I don't think as much pressure is being put up there, but I think it's the thing of he doesn't want to let them down. Because they see like, oh my god, he's so gifted and we want the best opportunities presented for our child. And they were initially coming here so that he could be trained because they knew from a very young age how gifted he was. So like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out going forward into the next episode, what decisions Arthur ends up making and where things kind of end up going with Lilia in the end. But that's really all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.